And welcome to the Marcus and Mike Show. I am Mike. The man over here to my left is Marcus. How you doing today, morning?
Pretty good, Michael. I mean, Spurs lost, but I mean, hey, it's just another day, man.
Well,
It's just sports sometimes. I guess sometimes that's the way you have to look at it.
let's go ahead and start with that. With that, with that Spurs talk there. They decided to basically let the clock run out with about 4 seconds left, or with like 11 seconds left, and they're down by 4 points.
Yeah.
Um, in a game seven, it looked like Popovich was trying to get him to like foul, but the players were not listening or something like just like that. What is your overall take on that? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was really disappointing. Give back, baby. It was really disappointing. I mean, Patty Mills was they should have fouled right away. LaMarcus Aldridge, and as soon as DeRozan went to the basket, um, they should have fouled. As soon as DeRozan missed, got a shot blocked. They should have fouled right away. There was about 28 seconds left. They could have extended the game. I know Denver's a good free throw shooting team, and Spurs are down four, but you have to foul in that situation ASAP. I understand Popovich's the coach, and they didn't listen to him. He was out there on the court yelling foul, but these are professional players. High school players should have fouled. LaMarcus Aldridge and Patty Mills should have known to foul, and those are the two culprits there that did not foul that should have fouled ASAP. Um, but at that point it was just a little disappointing. I mean, this is a make or miss league.
Right.
Um, DeRozan missed his final two shots, and Jamal Murray came up big. I mean, he made his final two shots. Jamal Murray had that running one-hander from 16 feet. He misses that. Spurs might win this game, but he didn't. And Jamal Murray's really good. He's been a borderline all-star for the past couple years, and
Right.
I expect Jamal Murray to take that next step and start becoming an all-star. Yeah, he had a really good performance last night in the last couple minutes. The Spurs could have pulled it out. The Spurs played at their pace and their tempo. And DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus did get cooking a little bit there, but we didn't get enough from those two guys, our two All-Stars in the first half, and that's the reason they lost the game. But Spurs had a chance, but like I said, make or miss league. DeMar DeRozan missed his two shots. Jamal Murray made his two shots at the end, and that was your ball game.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think this is an upset per se, but I mean, me and you both had the Spurs winning this series.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people had Spurs winning this like this series. But this was such a evenly matched series, and I want to say that talent overtook in the end because the Denver does have a little bit more talented starters, but Spurs does have the depth like on the team. So
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I don't think either of these teams make it through the next round. So, as a Spurs fan, like I feel for you getting knocked out in the first round, but I would much rather have heartache in the first round than the second round. Personally,
Now,
yeah,
I want to get as far as you can. And I don't think Portland's playing very well, but I don't think Denver Nuggets are just going to be out of this thing by any stretch of the imagination. The Denver Nuggets can play. The Spurs had more All Stars on their team, with LaMarcus
right,
and DeMar DeRozan. But the best player on the court, the best player in the series is Nikola Jokic.
yep,
And the first half, he was Tim Duncan esque. I mean, he carried the Nuggets. The Nuggets were terrible. The Spurs were absolutely horrific.
I agree.
That's probably why they lost. They lost. The Spurs lost this game in the first half, but Nikola Jokic was absolutely horrific. I mean, excuse me, absolutely great. And if Nikola Jokic plays like that against Portland, they don't have Nurkic. I don't. LaMarcus Aldridge did a decent job on Nikola Jokic in the second half. He wasn't the same player.
Right.
Um, Portland Trailblazers have absolutely nobody like LaMarcus Aldridge. So Nikola Jokic is going to have a fun freewheeling game next series.
Yep.
So he was the best player on the court last night, and that's partly why Denver Nuggets won the game. Nikola Jokic is a monster.
Yeah, and he did record his second triple double of the playoffs so far. So
Yeah.
really, like he is doing great things like over there. I mean, like I don't want to get into too much of playoff basketball here, but the second round does start tonight, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll definitely hit on that on on Tuesday a lot
Sure.
like a lot more. But just to give you guys just some little heads up here of what's happening tonight. Like you have Boston versus the Bucks, and then Houston versus Golden State. All very great matchups there. And then Monday, the Philadelphia and Toronto in their game 2, and then you have Portland and Denver in both game 1
Right.
matchups there. So quickly here, on tonight's game, who do you have winning versus the Celtics and Bucks?
I mean, just for this, I've got Bucks winning. And,
The
and I've
series?
got yeah, Bucks winning the series. Bucks winning today. Um, I've got and then the other one was you going Golden State too.
Yeah.
Golden State Houston. I think Curry and Klay Thompson are a little. They sprained their ankles. That ought to slow them down a little bit. I still think the Warriors will beat the Rockets.
Yep.
Um, but I'm pulling for the Rockets, man. I can't stand the Golden State Warriors. I mean,
Right.
I think they've kind of ruined basketball here the past couple of years. Everybody knows who's going to win the title. I mean, it's kind of actually, really Kevin Durant, I think, ruined basketball. The Warriors did what they were. The Warriors did what they were supposed to do. They knew they couldn't beat LeBron James, so they all met in the Hamptons to woo Kevin Durant to beat LeBron James, and they
Right.
did just that. They beat LeBron James 2 years in a row, but there's no more LeBron. There's no more boogeyman for the Golden State Warriors. So, but Golden State still should win this series. I hope Houston wins it though, and I don't really like Houston either, but it's like the lesser of two evils, kind of.
Right.
So I hope Houston beats them. But yeah, Warriors I think will win this series. It's going to go long. I think Warriors in 7, and I think Bucks will win today, and then end up eventually winning in 7. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. I think just to hit on the Warriors real fast. I think that first round series with the Clippers that they had really woke them up, saying, "Hey, we actually have to play," and I think they're going to show up and kind of flex their muscle on Houston on game 1 and game 2. Game 3 in Florida, they're going to lax a little bit. Game 5, they'll feel the pressure and they'll probably wrap it up in game 6.
Right.
And then the Bucks, I do have them beating the Celtics, but I have to agree with you there. I think it is going to go 7 here. Monday matchup, you have Philly versus Toronto. Who do you have winning that series after Toronto thumped 76ers last night?
I got Toronto. These things we talked about this the past month. This is going to be fascinating. Kawhi Leonard proved last night he and Kevin Durant are just amazing to
45
watch.
points last night.
Yeah, although Durant lives a lavish life, playing with all these other great players that
Yeah.
they don't have to actually take the ball out of his hands and key on him. But Kawhi Leonard is just absolutely amazing. But Toronto, I think will get this one in 7. These things are going to the distance. They're going to go the distance. These matchups. I mean, these are all great matchups right here. There is no weakness hardly in any of these teams. So I got Toronto in 7.
Yeah, this series, it's basically a flip of the coin, like in my book. And just for sakes, for a little bit of a challenge here, I'm going to go with Philly. I'm going to have them winning in 7. So I do think it's going to go 7 games, but I think Philly has a little bit more depth on their side than Toronto. And then the final series that we have going on is Portland versus the Denver Nuggets. That's a Monday night game as well. Who do you got winning that series?
I got Denver in 7. These are all going to go. There is no the matchups are really intriguing here. Gary Harris backcourt, Jamal Murray versus Dame Lillard, who's just playing phenomenal, and CJ McCollum. Gary Harris and Jamal Murray don't have to match Dame Lillard if he gets like 40 or something. If they just play like CJ McCollum, like if there's a ceiling here. Damian Lillard's a little above CJ McCollum, he's like just unbelievable, 35 points a game.
Yeah.
CJ McCollum's in at 25 points a game. If Jamal Murray and Gary Harris, the backcourt of Denver, just match CJ McCollum and each got about 25, Denver will win the series. Why? Because they have Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
All Jamal Murray and Gary Harris have to do is just kind of just stay in that 20 to 25 points per game, not screw the thing up. And you got Nikola Jokic back there. The offense runs. I think Portland will eventually win this series. I think Denver Nuggets will eventually win this series. But Portland is playing phenomenal. This thing's going to go the distance.
Yeah.
But I got the Nuggets in 7 because Nikola Jokic is just fascinating. Now, if Nikola Jokic gets hurt or something like that, then yeah, all bets are off. Then Portland will win. But Nikola Jokic is just fascinating to watch. He's a fascinating player. I have them Denver Nuggets in 7.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to try to ride that train with you a little bit because I think Portland celebrated their first round series win like they won the championship. I've seen that before. I saw that in the Tennessee Volunteers and SEC championship when they beat, I believe it was Auburn. When they beat Kentucky, they celebrated like they won the championship. They did not show up for the championship
Yeah.
game. I think Portland is kind of going to do the same, and I'm going to have to go with the Nuggets on this one. But I think it's going to go a 6-game series. I think Denver's going to win the first 2 at home,
Right.
and then steal 1 in Portland, and then win Game 6, obviously. So just to recap, guys, Marcus and myself have the Bucks winning. We both have Golden State winning the next series. Marcus has Toronto. I have Philly, and then we both have the Nuggets as well. So either we're all going to go 1-3, or we're going to go 3-3-3-1. So it's positive thoughts over here. But guys, we're going to take a quick break real quick, and then we're going to recap the NFL draft that happened Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we'll be right back. Yeah, I was basically just going to ask you how you would do the grades. The Marcus and Mike show. Like I said, I am Mike. My man over here to the left is Marcus. And Marcus, we're going to get right into the NFL draft. This is your Christmas time, and quite frankly, this is the first NFL draft that I really paid attention to all 3 days. Usually, I have it on, and I kind of tune into when my team picks, and then I kind of tuned back out. It was very, very exciting, and with it being in Nashville, that's even much more exciting. If it's in Nashville next year, I'm definitely going to try to go down there and check it out. It's only a 2-hour drive for myself, but as we all kind of expected, Kyler Murray did go number 1 in the NFL draft, and Nick Bosa went number 2. Are you still there?
Yeah, no, you had a poor connection. I don't know what happened.
Okay, yeah, but we are back.
I just got you.
Yeah, it looks like Spectrum Internet is treating us.
I can hear anything you said.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Live TV at its best, guys. Live TV at its best. Thank you, Spectrum Internet, for being so awesome in Sellersburg, Indiana. But like I said, like I was saying, Kyler Murray did go number 1 as expected. Nick Bosa number 2, and then Quentin Williams number 3. Kind of I want to say the biggest surprise so far is Farrell at 4, and then you had probably maybe the biggest head scratcher of the weekend. I want your insights on this, but Daniel Jones going 6 overall to the Giants. Let's start right there. What are your thoughts on that pick?
I thought it was absolutely crazy. I mean, I didn't know. I have no idea. I hate to sound like Mel Kiper right now, but I respect the hell out of Mel Kiper. He said a long time ago that obviously the Jets don't obviously understand the draft. So I'll say it for the other New York team. The Giants obviously don't understand the draft, what the draft is all about. I mean, I have no idea what they're doing. Look, Daniel Jones could become eventually a good player in this league. I mean, if you think that he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft, then I guess you take him at number 6. But I don't know what are the reasons. What would lead you to believe that Daniel Jones is going to be the best quarterback in this draft? It's a head scratcher. I have no idea because we didn't see it in college. So it's kind of it was a weird pick. I mean, also they could have got Daniel Jones at the 17th selection probably.
They could have got him in the second round.
Yeah, it's possible. But I mean, for sure, you could have got him with the 17th pick, and then you could have taken Josh Allen or Ed Oliver. I mean, I don't. I mean, and I thought Dave Gettleman was in love with defensive players. I think he is. I think they just. I don't know what. That's a great. I mean, they panic and say, "Oh, we better take Daniel Jones because he's got that thing with David Cutcliffe, Eli Manning. He was coached by Cutcliffe. Cutcliffe coached Eli Manning and Peyton Manning, and there's like this relationship there. It's almost like they just picked one of their friends who's pretty good instead of the best player.
Right.
So it's a very odd situation. I'm happy about it because I'm a Cowboy fan. So any disruption there, Eli Manning, I think has been an average quarterback for many years. I think they got man. I don't know what Daniel Jones isn't even a 60% completion percentage passer.
Right.
To be honest, Eli Manning just hit over the 60 percentage line last year. Like in terms of for overall body of work, which is horrific, by the way. I mean, that is Eli Manning just barely hit over 60%. I mean, in other words, last year for his career, that's a pathetic quarterback in my opinion. That's about average as you can get. And Daniel Jones is on that in that same line. It's almost like a poor man's Eli Manning that they just drafted. It's very weird, very odd. They could have had the better quarterback. They didn't do that route. And then going back a couple of picks further, everybody's talking about the Cleveland Farrell pick to the Raiders, right? The 4th overall pick, how they reached and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, they may have reached, but listen, it's the same thing as a quarterback. If you identify, I think they had Nick Bosa as their best 4-3 defensive end, and then their next 4-3 end was Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah.
If that's a position of need, and you think that Cleveland Farrell is going to be a dominant player at that position, also you can line him out up there with the wide 9 position where he's beyond the offensive tackle. He can just put his 2 arms in the ground, 2 hands in the ground, and just go.
Right.
If you think that Cleveland Farrell is the best 4-3 defensive end after Bosa, then they just said, they didn't find any trade partners. They said, the heck with it, and we're taking the best 4-3 end. I really didn't have that much of a problem with that pick. Cleveland Farrell in my board was around 15th, 16th overall. So is it a reach? Sure. But they identified him as the second best defensive end behind Bosa, and they went ahead and just took it because they didn't have any trade partners. I have no problem with what Mike Mayock did. That's fine to me. I think Cleveland Farrell is going to be one of those players. May not be a perennial All-Pro every year, but he's going to be very, very solid, like a Greg Ellis was for the Cowboys. Made 1 Pro Bowl, like a Tony Tolbert was for the Cowboys, made 1 Pro Bowl. But you could always count on Tony Tolbert for 8 years, Greg Ellis for like 10, 11 years, that they were going to be there and they weren't going to screw it up. They were going to stop the run. They were going to, get to the quarterback occasionally. They didn't have that 20 sacks here, but they would get you 9 to 10 sacks a year. I think Cleveland Farrell falls in that category. I didn't have a problem with what the Raiders did at 4th. The Giants at 6 with that Daniel Jones pick, back to your question, that's a head scratcher because now you have Dwayne Haskins upset at you. He goes 15th, and now that's going to be – I'm going to tell you, as a Cowboy fan, let's just sit back and watch this in a couple years, maybe even this year, maybe even probably starting next year. Daniel Jones versus Dwayne Haskins, the Redskins versus the Giants. Let's hope they eat each other alive. Let's hope they just tear each other up. I think that's going to be a good matchup for years to come.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I do think that they are going to be going head-to-head a lot. Not because they're in the same, slay-headed games like every year, but the fact that Haskins has that chip on his shoulder and he wants to pound the Giants into the ground every chance he gets. But to add to your point there, I thought that Daniel Jones had the most upside in a quarterback in this year's draft, meaning he had the most room to basically become a professional. If he gets a chance to sit a year behind Eli, learn how to watch film, learn how to, because Eli comes from a pedigree where they know how to watch film, they know how to prepare for a game, and if Jones can pick any part of his brain and become a great quarterback, he can take leaps and bounds from his college till his first NFL starting snap. Hopefully for his sake, it is not this year because he does have so much room to grow, room to improve. But with all that being said, him getting taken 6th overall is a very big head scratcher for me and in my opinion here, because I believe everybody's draft board that I saw him had him as a 5th best quarterback, meaning he's a second to third round talent. If the Giants wanted a quarterback that bad, I mean, just like what you said, they could have took him 17th, or they could
Yeah.
have traded that pick, traded down, and then got a couple more picks in the late first round, early second round. If they truly think he was going to go
Yeah.
before that, but if you really look at the draft board, who was going to go before Haskins or like after Haskins? Like what team really needed a quarterback at that point? So that was a very very large stretch for like me, but as you said, as a Cowboys fan, I'm happy about it because we could see Eli for probably another year, maybe two. Who knows?
Yeah.
So there are two easy wins in the book. But when Daniel Jones becomes what I think he can become, that's going to be a very good rivalry game because I think he is going to be a pretty solid Alex Smith-esque quarterback. He is going to he is not going to lose you the games. If you give him a lead, he's going to hang on to that lead. So a couple years, look for him, guys. So winners of the overall draft, what team do you think did the best? My opinion, at first, I didn't want to say this, but I think the Arizona Cardinals won the draft when they drafted Kyler, and then they got that trade for Drew Rosen to my Miami that Friday afternoon. I think that is how they won the draft this year. Who do you think won the draft this year? It's so hard to tell who would win the draft. I mean, these things we'll see who wins the draft in a couple of years, right? Mm-hmm.
But just to listen, I like what the Raiders did with the Cleveland Farrell pick. They had a couple of they picked up three pretty good players in the first round. I mean, getting Josh Jacobs, getting the safety that they needed. The Raiders, I think they did a heck of a job here in the first round. Mike Mayock, he studies this stuff extensively. He does a really good job of picking these players, and I think the Raiders, they picked Jonathan Abram, the safety. Those three players right there in the first round, probably three starters. I mean, that was huge for the Raiders to do. I don't think the Giants hit it on theirs. I mean, they had three first round picks like the Raiders. And I think they underwhelmed on their three first-round picks, and the Raiders did well on theirs. We talked about getting the Jones. I think that was a mistake. I love Lawrence, the Giants, getting Dexter Lawrence there with the big 6'4", 330-pound guy. I mean, he's gonna be pretty good for them to plug and play in the middle there for their defensive line, but. I mean, you had other players there at 17, and that was the 17th pick they got for Beckham. There were other outstanding players with more upside, more talent than just a plug-and-play guy in the middle. I thought that was a reach there to get Lawrence there at 17. And then to come back and get Baker, what the Giants did later on, I thought that was a little bit of a reach there too. So I don't know. I think they kind of reached on their picks. I like what the Cowboys did. I like what the Chiefs did. Okay, I'm not sure winners and losers, but if you want to talk about that now, the Chiefs picking up that kid, Mecole Hardman. That guy flies. That guy's a touchdown maker. He'd be a perfect complement to either if Tyreek Hill gets suspended for half the season or whatever happens, or a replacement. We don't know all the facts on that. I love him. And then they came back with one of the best defensive tackles in my book, who had like a early second-round grade, is that kid Saunders. Saunders is off the chain. I really like Saunders. He's a defensive tackle. Kalen Saunders out of Western Illinois. Absolutely. He's a phenomenal player. He's a highly motivated player. They showed him and his daughter. he's highly he wants to play hard. And then for safety, Juan Thornhill out of Virginia, excellent athlete for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see how he plays with the Honey Badger, but we talked about that for the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are positions of need. I mean, and I think they got the best player at those spots right there. I don't think they fooled around. I think that those were three great picks. Hardman, Saunders, and Thornhill were their first they didn't have a first round pick, but their second, third, and fourth round picks, or they had 2/3 or 2 seconds. That was absolutely fabulous what the Chiefs did. I couldn't have done it better with those three players myself. Thornwell's a great athlete. Saunders will plug up that middle, and the Hardman will fly. He's a guy that he can just beat you off the line. Boom. To me, he's better than DK Metcalf from Ole Miss.
Right.
He's just a better player. He's not. Yeah, I mean, so what the Chiefs did was great. The Cowboys were great. If you want to go and get in the Cowboys draft, but yeah, your thoughts on the Chiefs? I mean, I think they hit it. They hit the draft really well.
Yeah, why don't we just go ahead and stick on the Kansas City Chiefs here? They drafted a wide receiver, which they needed one. Hopefully, they don't kick him off the team, or I'm sorry, I'm referring to Tyreek Hill. Hopefully, they don't kick him off the team, and
Right.
like and the Hardman has to step up and like be the man right now. But let's not forget the Chiefs still have Kelvin Benjamin. They acquired him in free agency last year. Was it? Yeah, because he got
Yeah.
cut. So the Chiefs picked him up. So he has had a full
From
year.
Carolina, yeah.
Yeah. They got him from the Bills because the Carolina traded him to the Bills.
Carolina traded the Bills. That's
Yeah.
right. I'm thinking
Yeah.
where he got drafted. I'm in draft mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Kelvin Benjamin's drafted. Yeah.
So if Tyreek Hill is still on the team and Kelvin Benjamin beats the players that like he can, Hardman's going to step up there and be a very elite, really, really, really fast. I'm excited to see that. Some of the disappointing things that I did not see them do, or I was hoping to like see them do was draft more of the front seven on the defensive side. Meaning like we needed some more linebacking play. We needed a defensive end, maybe a nose guard. We did pick up that Saunders kid from the for the interior, but we needed more outside pass rushing help. Yes, we did well in the free agency, but I would like to see them draft a young guy and get him in the mold in there too. And we did get a running back late. I believe it was a 7th round. We got that Harwin Thompson from Utah State. I have not seen him play, so I don't know anything about him whatsoever. But I'm glad they're adding depth to that running back position, because the running back position,
Right.
ever since losing Hunt, we have a three-headed back there, but they're all below average. We need somebody to step up and be the guy, and like hopefully this Thompson guy steps up and like be's a good second choice back there. But we still need that number one back, and I'm not for sure who that's going to be.
I'm not so. I mean, I understand you're a Chiefs fan. I mean, I'm not so down. I mean, you study it closer than I do, but they signed Damian Wilson in the offseason from the Cowboys. Anthony Hitchens and Damian Wilson are pretty damn good football players. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And I love Alex Okafor.
Yeah, but after those three guys, there is nobody. There is no depth there at all.
Alex Okafor, you are going to be surprised. We'll get to the pass rush. He'll get to the passer. He's a good pass rusher. Alex Okafor out of Texas a few years ago. You guys, Kansas City Chiefs have him now.
Right.
Agba, Frank Clark. I think like we talked about this before. The Chiefs just have to stay. They can't be terrible.
Right.
And like, you know what? They were terrible last year defensively, and they're at D Ford lining up off sides away from getting the Super Bowl.
I think terrible is an understatement.
Yeah, if Kansas City stays in the middle of the pack defensively, you know, if they're the 16th, 17th best defense in football, that's great for them, because their offense is going to carry them through. And you better pray Sammy Watkins. If Sammy Watkins is the key here, he's a multi-talented wide receiver. There's not too many receivers that were even graded higher in the NFL draft about 4 years ago than Sammy Watkins. If he can stay healthy, I think they'll be just fine with the McCall Hardman pick. But Sammy Watkins has to stay healthy for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a big deal for me. Got to get that guy ready. Factor. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and switch gears and switch over to the NFC. Our Dallas Cowboys. I think they pretty much got every need that they needed in the draft, or that like we thought they needed, except for a tight end. Kind of disappointed about that, but hopefully, I mean, there's always next year, I guess, or maybe some free agent signings just as well. But they did draft two running backs in the draft, Tony Pollard, and then they also drafted a Mike Weber from Ohio State. I don't know much about Mike Weber from Ohio State. I tried to avoid the Big Ten. I think they're highly overrated, but it is
Right.
what it is. So, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys draft? Good, bad,
Listen.
indifferent.
Yeah, I thought the Cowboys drafted pretty well. I mean, and the running back you're talking about, Tony Pollard, and then Mike Weber. Pollard is a guy; he's a touchdown maker, just like McCole Hardman was for Georgia, getting a bunch of touchdowns in the return. And the Chiefs and Cowboys made out like bandits. They found their kick returner and punt returner. Tony Pollard is going to be the kick returner, punt returner. McCole Hardman is going to be that for the Chiefs. I mean, we both found dynamic players that get the job done, punt returning and kick returning. The Chiefs and Cowboys. Then you can hand the ball to him occasionally. Pollard plays everywhere. Pollard can line up at receiver in the slot. He was a former receiver. You can also hand him to him at running back if Zeke wants to take a breather.
Yeah.
Pollard's that good. I mean, I love that pick. That was one of my that's my favorite pick for the Cowboys. Let's just hope that he pans out because after Ezekiel Elliott, we talked about this last week. There was absolutely no depth for the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Let's be real. So now you have Pollard and Mike Weber. Weber was supposed to be the big time running back replacing Ezekiel Elliott 3-4 years ago, and he didn't live up to that billing at Ohio State. Matter of fact, he got beat out I think a couple years ago, but he stayed with it. What you love about Weber is he's not one of those that the high recruit and supposed to replace Ezekiel Elliott and then gets benched and then just takes his ball and goes home, or wants to transfer to Northern Iowa and be their great running back. He stuck with it at Ohio State, and he persevered, and he stayed all those years, and he became a pretty good running back. You give it to Mike Weber, and then he's basically a little hole, and he goes. He doesn't really dance around too much. He's got some good speed, but Weber was a good pick, I thought. I'm a little more higher on the Tony Pollard pick. Because he can do everything. But Weber's a decent pick. I think Weber might make this team because the running back depth is so bad. So Dallas needed two running backs, and they got Pollard and Weber. I'm okay with that. I mean, I might have taken Travion Williams from A&M. I really wanted Justice Hill or David Montgomery from Iowa State and Oklahoma State, because I've watched those guys play in the Big 12 a lot. But I wasn't that upset about it. When I saw Tony Pollard come off the board and what he can do. The dynamic that he is, punt returning, kickoff returning running back, I thought was pretty good. And Mike Weber, I thought that wasn't a bad pick either because we have to have running back depth. The Cowboys need running back depth, and Mike Weber is pretty good. I think Weber will come in. Zeke will take him under his wing, and it'll be pretty unique to watch. I mean, Mike Weber's never going to be the starting running back in the NFL where Zeke can go ahead. We can trade Zeke and we have Mike Weber.
Yeah.
No, Mike Weber is going to be that guy that Zeke needs a rest. Get in there, Weber, and you get the rock for a couple of plays,
right.
And then Zeke comes back in. Pollard can do that too now, but Pollard's more of kick return, punt return. Heck, this might even sound crazy, but if a receiver or two went down, you can line Pollard up in the slot for a game. I'm not joking.
I was actually getting ready to
okay.
say that I could see him transitioning over to that slot back
Since
we lost
Beasley.
We lost Beasley.
And then we replaced him. We replaced Beasley with Cobb. Cobb has a little bit better than Beasley, but Cobb has injuries. I mean, they can train Tony Pollard to play that slot. I mean, this is not out of the realm of possibility here. So, but for sure, Tony Pollard should be the kickoff and punt returner, just like Miko Hardman. It should be the punt returner, kickoff returner, at least the kickoff returner for out of the kid out of Georgia, second round pick that went to Kansas City. He should be the Chiefs kick returner. Pollard should be the kick returner for the Cowboys. Tristan Hill is a heck of a player. That's the Cowboys, the 58th selection, defensive tackle. You're talking about a guy who is a good word for him as a disruptor. He disrupts things. I'm going to tell you right now, he shoots through those gaps very well. Also, he can take on blocks at the point of attack very well. He had a little falling out with the new regime, Coach Randy Shannon, defensive coach. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened there. He started with Coach for a couple years and was dominating, and then for whatever reason he fell out of favor there at Central Florida. But then they still used him. It's not like they suspended him or anything. He played well, and then in the championship game, their final game, he dominated, and so they left him in there in that game.
Yeah.
But no, it's gonna be nice. Dallas. I'm gonna be honest. Dallas has absolutely no weakness in their front four. None.
Right.
There's nothing that you can name. They signed Robert Quinn in the offseason. They have they have Lawrence there. Taco Charlton has got to get better. That's not an understatement. He's got to come through. But if not, if Taco, hey, if you want to become a bust, I got Robert Quinn there next year, and I got DeMarcus Lawrence. We're fine. Tyrell Crawford's been named me a defensive tackle. He's starting to play on the end a little bit. Christian Covington signing from the Texans is great. Christian Covington was tired of playing that zero technique and the 3-4 for the Texans. And he was a heck of a player for the Texans. Another player gets through the gaps. He wanted to play in a 4-3. Well, he's got his opportunity now. When you have a three-headed monster, this is the Cowboys' two defensive tackle positions. When you have a three-headed monster of Christian Covington, Malik Collins, and Tristan Hill, and Antoine Woods, actually, let's see, hopefully Antoine Woods comes back. That's four defensive tackles for those two spots. Dallas should not get run on like they got run on in the Rams game. Christian Covington and Tristan Hill will put a stop to that. So I like that. I like that pick. And then the third round pick that the Cowboys got, Connor McGovern. Man, like I said, Pollard was a really good pick. That was one of my. I had Connor McGovern as like he was the second best pure guard. Although McGovern can play any of the three positions, center, guard, or both guard positions. But just for Chris Lindstrom out of Boston College, I had Connor McGovern right there behind Lindstrom. Lindstrom was a dominator, a baller, and he went 14th overall to the Atlanta Falcons. To get Connor McGovern right there, who blocked for Saquon Barkley, and he blocked for Sanders, who went to the Eagles in the second round. Listen, Sanders and Barkley are great talents, but you got to have people blocking for you. And Connor McGovern was the best guy up front for Penn State. He played center. So what's great about this pick is if Travis Frederick can't come back from the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a devastating injury, by the way, it's a severe sickness, illness. If he can't come back for that, I know we had Looney. The Cowboys re-signed Joe Looney, and former Tennessee Titan.
Yep.
He did a pretty good job at center. But Connor McGovern, if Joe Looney goes down, is your starting center, in my opinion. He is that good. He can anchor the line, and he's going to push. La'el Collins is in his final year of his contract. You could have a situation where this is ideal for the Cowboys is Frederick comes back at center, maybe not this year or next year, and then you have Connor McGovern to his right, or Connor McGovern to his left, and then you have our last first round pick the kid out of Texas, who they put at guard, and he wasn't strong enough because he was used to playing tackle, Williams. So Connor Williams. So you could have a situation where you could have Connor McGovern, and then there's La'el Collins, and then you have Joe Looney at center. But hopefully Frederick will come back. But this Connor McGovern pick is an excellent pick. He's a mauler. He'll get you through it. He can play any of those three positions: right guard, left guard, or center. That was a great pickup, Connor McGovern by the Cowboys.
Yeah, and looking at this draft again here, over and over and over for the last 3 or 4 days here, I'm going to say that this is going to be the most underrated draft that the Cowboys have because think about this, they didn't have any holes to fill really besides the tight end and tailback, and that was basically just to add the second string, third string on to them. But they added depth everywhere. I mean, they drafted two defensive ends and Joe Jackson and Jalen from Oregon, both really good underrated talents. They added depth at the cornerback position with Michael Jackson from the U. I really like this kid. I saw him play for 3 or 4 games this past year, and He is the type of player that you don't care if the ball is on the other side of the field. Like your eyes are stuck to him just because
Yeah.
of like what he does. Like I mean, like he loves playing the game of football out there, and that's going to transition over to the NFL. And just like what you're saying about that offensive guard spot, added depth there too. Yes, that was a need, but we have 3 or 4 guys there that like you can plug and play. And I'm
I
really
think Connor.
excited.
I think Connor McGovern's going to end up starting eventually for the Cowboys. I think that's how good he
Yeah,
is. I would be surprised if we're not doing this thing next year and Connor McGovern didn't find himself at maybe not. Excuse me, 2 years from now. Next year, Leo Collins still is under contract. I
yeah,
mean, they may not need Connor McGovern will probably be one of the first backups in, but I would actually be surprised in 2 years from now if Connor McGovern is not starting at center because of the tragic Travis Frederick situation. Let's hope he comes back, or not starting at guard. I would be shocked if Connor McGovern was not starting in 2 years. Maybe they don't need him next year to start. Let's hope they don't. He could start next year if Looney got hurt. Then Connor McGovern's going to start at center,
right.
I believe. But in 2 years from now, Connor McGovern will be starting. And I'm going to piggyback off what you said. Michael Jackson, I love him. Number 28 in your Miami program. He's wearing that turnover chain.
Yeah,
He's a press man corner. He gets you in your face. I love the kid. That was a good pick for the Cowboys. He had some interceptions, and then we got the defensive end, Joe Jackson, also from
yeah,
the U. We got 2 of the turnover chain guys for the U, and I think that these kids get after it. Michael Jackson's a good pickup.
yeah.
He wore that turnover chain a few times.
A lot.
He's a good player. Yeah,
Yeah. So guys, like I'm gonna go out on like a limb, and you had the Cowboys going 13-3, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
At least
and
12-4, 13-3. Yeah,
yeah, and I think I had them going 11-5. It was a little bit of underestimating and like in my eyes now. Like looking at this draft, like I would like to re-pick those games here in like a month just to see how their camp goes. But guys, this Cowboys team looks like a dangerous team on paper. I mean, they have they have the weapons on the offense. Their defense is thick. They're deep.
yeah.
We are not going to get run on like CJ Anderson did on us in the
No.
playoff game. I would like to take the Cowboys team this year and the Rams team last year, play that
Yeah, let's
playoff
play it again.
game, and the Rams they don't have a chance. I mean, just because I think that I think this draft is this good for the Cowboys. Now, like they could repeat this next year and the year after that. They are set for a long time. We can be
Well,
flashback to
yeah,
the 90s.
yeah. I mean, listen. As far as the Rams game is concerned, that playoff game, 2 weaknesses. The Cowboys struggled in like the second down situations, third down situations. They couldn't move the chains.
We fixed
They
that
got
with
that first time.
we fixed that with the tight end addition.
We fixed that with
Jason
Jason
Witten.
Witten. Jason Witten I'm not saying we would have won the game with Jason Witten, but we wouldn't have struggled so much offensively because Jason Witten moves the chains. Dak would have found him on 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, and then it would have been a manageable 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 situations. You've also fixed that with getting Randall Cobb. Beasley, if you remember, his ankle was shot.
Yeah.
He could barely move. So if Randall Cobb is healthy, if Jason Witten, and then also going back to that, we fixed the needs in that area too. Why Dallas got beat? They got run on. You bring in Christian Covington from the Houston Texans, and you bring in Tristan Hill.
I like it.
Love
it.
From the 58th overall pick from Central Florida. Dallas identified their needs right there. Their defensive tackles. Malik Collins was hobbling, and so Antoine Woods didn't have a good game, and we need more depth at that position. Antoine Woods go. Be honest, I think Christian Covington and Malik Collins are the starters. I think Antoine Woods gets beat out, and which is pretty good because Antoine Woods started for the Cowboys. And if you have Antoine Woods and the new 58th overall pick Tristan Hill as your 2 backups,
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys addressed the need of moving the chains with Randall Cobb and Witten in the offseason, and then they addressed the needs of getting run on by the Rams by signing Christian Covington from the Texans and drafting Tristan Hill with the 50th overall pick. So those were 2 big-time needs. Also, getting Connor McGovern was a need because they stuck Connor Williams in that guard position, and he just wasn't strong enough. McGovern's stronger right now than Williams. Although I haven't seen Williams work out, but McGovern is a better guard than Connor Williams. Connor Williams at Texas was a tackle.
Yeah.
So he may go back to that tackle eventually. Connor McGovern's a better guard than Connor McGovern is a better guard, the new draft pick, than Connor Williams of Texas is right now for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So Dallas addressed all those needs of why they lost the Rams game. Except there's only one little small thing. I thought we need linebacking help. Our linebackers keep going to Kansas City Chiefs for some reason.
I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah, the depth is gone. So Dallas needs some help on the linebacking. But other than that, they addressed the needs, like you said, Michael. They addressed the needs of why they lost to the Rams in the divisional playoff game. They addressed those needs with Witten, Cobb, Tristan Hill, and Christian Covington.
Well, just to add to your point here, I think we addressed the needs of beating the Rams with the signing of Cobb and Jason. Because if you're getting first downs, that's taking the pressure off of that defense, and the Rams cannot run the ball like they were because the Cowboys are controlling the clock a little bit more and possibly getting a touchdown or two or a field goal. So like just moving the chains a couple times changed the whole dynamic of that whole game.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the Cowboys would have won the Super Bowl with the Cobb and Jason on that team, but they definitely would have beat the Rams. But the Rams have also addressed a lot of off-season needs, and like we can talk about that next show. But we're going to wrap it up here. Final thoughts on the draft. Did you think the draft was a overall success being there in Nashville?
Yeah, no, I love the draft, and I like the fact that I love the draft. They could have the draft in Iceland, and I'd love the draft, but I liked it in New York City because it was fun watching those Jets fans, because the Jets seems like they made horrible picks, and they did. I mean, does it get any better than all the Jets fans saying we're going to select Dan Marino? We can't wait to have Dan Marino on our team, and all the fans knew better. They know better about the draft than the people actually getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars that run the draft.
Right.
So all the Jets fans are sitting up there going, oh man, we're going to get Dan Marino. Dan Marino. I can't believe Dan Marino has fallen to our late 20s pick. And then Pete Rozelle goes up there. He said the Jets select 20-something overall Ken O'Brien. And then all the Jets fans just go crazy. It's like the fans know better than the people running the show. They were all ready to have Warren Sapp. They were like, man, we're going to get Warren Sapp. They asked a couple of Jets fans up in the audience. They said, well, he's got a smoking weed problem. And then the Jets fans were like, well, don't worry. We'll take care of that. He's a great player. He'll come to New York. We'll take care. And so all the Jets fans are ready to take Warren Sapp, right? One of the best defensive tackles, in my opinion, I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. And
it says the Jets with the 12th selection or the 11th selection select Kyle Brady. And the Jets fans just went crazy. So the Jets fans know better than their front office people. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
And there's other things on the Jets too, taking Jeff Lageman. So anyway,
it's all a game in their eyes.
Yeah, the Jets fans are pretty smart. They should probably run the organization on draft day, on draft time.
All right, guys, you heard it here first.
Yeah,
from Marcus the Freak.
Yeah, but that being said, let me answer your original question. I went on a little tangent there. The fact that they move it around and give other cities a chance, like one day put it in Kansas City, one day put it in Dallas. I think Dallas. It wasn't Dallas last year. One day put it in Houston. Tennessee was great. Did you see? It looked like 100,000. It looked like they had a parade every day. I saw
a stat that they had more people there than they did on New Year's Eve. And then New Year's Eve last year they had 175,000 people in that street right there, like on the
street. So to answer your question, I love when it was in New York because of the Jets fans. But you know what? Let's move it around now. Next year, I don't even know. Let's put it. I think it's like a Super Bowl now. Give fans. You know what? If you miss it, let's just say you know how they vote on who's going to be in the next Super Bowl. Give the consolation prize. Give that team. Give that city the draft.
Right.
Because that brings a lot of people for some odd reason. I love the fact that they move it around, and it's been a great success now. So the NFL is going to keep moving that thing around.
It's all about money at the end of the day.
Yep. Yeah, it's good that they do that.
All right, guys. So we'll be back Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and then the show premieres at 6 o'clock right after that. So join us on Tuesday. We'll be back Tuesday with Marcus and myself. Follow Marcus on Twitter at Marcus the Freak, and follow myself at mbuck41. All the info is in the description of the show. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll catch you guys Tuesday.